Good afternoon, BookTube. It's Saturday, and it is time for another meander through this week's magazines. I've got a bumper crop this weekend because I've purchased a number of single issues from a site I found, Newsstand, I think it is, and I had a very substantial coupon for many of them, or well, for most of what I ordered. Uh, and then some other magazines are starting to come in that I'd subscribed to, and then the normal ones. Um, Still waiting for my National Geographic magazine. They've charged me for my introductory offer, but I haven't received it yet. Hmm. I hope it comes shortly. Let me just turn off my phone here so I don't get disturbed. There we go. I don't like getting ding dings. Don't get too many of them anyway. But I mentioned that I hadn't received an issue of The Spectator. Well, it's finally showed up today with everything else. So I emailed them and said, "Well, I haven't received this. I was expecting them to send another one." They said they weren't. So I'm assuming this is not a replacement. They just said they'll extend my introductory offer by another week. But I'll suppose I could email them and say that I've received it or not. Because I thought I got a really good deal for this. It was £12 for 12 issues. Now they're advertising you get 13 issues for £0. So if anybody's in the UK and is interested in getting 13 weeks of, it's a conservative, it's a right wing sort of current events paper, but there is still, if you're not of that ilk of right wing conservative, there's still some interesting articles in the back, and it's interesting overall though, because it's nice to know what everyone is doing and what they're thinking. So yeah, so that's interesting. But it's now 13 issues for zero, no cost at all. So oh well. Well, let me see if I can find a place to pile these. And my new current archaeology came today. Nice. No. It came actually on Wednesday. This is one of the ones that came on Wednesday. I think a couple came in on Thursday, and I think most came yesterday and today. But this one here it's a Mayflower 1620, a 400-year voyage of discovery. And just again chock full of fabulous stuff. I haven't had a chance to look at it too closely here. I've been reading other ones. There's Roman remains. The Mayflower is the biggest one. Sifting through the remains of Scotland's kelping industry, that could be interesting. So yeah, so there's a number of ones. They're nice productions, and I do actually like this one quite a bit because the articles are not too small, not too big. I got my first copy of Minerva that came yesterday. Beautiful. I remember getting this occasionally in Canada, picking it up off the newsstand. It's just wonderful. It's just the art of the ancient world, basically, and it's wonderfully illustrated. From what I remember, the articles are sort of they're good, but well, none of this stuff is academic. They're not journals. They're not journals in any shape or form. They're for just people that are interested. Oh wow, look at the basilica. So there's quite a bit of stuff in here. I've opted to pay for a full year of this. I think it's bi-monthly. Yeah, so 6 issues. I got a deal, so I paid for a full year. I knew what I was getting into with this, so I did that. Another one I did very shiny and slippery. Is another one. The first issue came yesterday. Ancient History. It's a European magazine. I had not seen it before. I bought a single issue of it a month ago or so. So I I liked it, so I decided to get a year's supply. And again, I think it's bi-monthly. Yeah, it's bi-monthly, so 6 issues for that. And this is the world of women. It's a female view of antiquity, so that's what the theme is for this issue. And it looks like there's a lot of good articles in there. And I got this week's TLS that came yesterday, and this has the a Wilfred Owen and Siegfried Says Soon article in, which looks pretty good. I haven't read that, I haven't read it yet. And there's quite a few things here. Last week I was a bit disappointed with the TLS. There's only a few things, for me anyway, of interest, because I no longer beat myself up over the fact that if I don't read it all in the week, if I can read the articles that I'm interested in, I'm happy. And then I can always go back. I sort of look through. When I do get around to reading through, I do a close look at everything, and hopefully I sort of remember that if something is there, that I can, go back to them, because I do keep them, or at least I have for the last couple of years. But yeah, I haven't read the MC column yet. Usually I do that when I get it, but I haven't read that yet, so I'm not sure. It's something called Shame Games. So I'll get to that, but that's the TLS. New one that's come is, again, I had 10 issues for £10, is The New Scientist. It's a it's a sort of roundup, a weekly roundup of science. I remember seeing this about 10, 12 years ago and liking it. I'm underwhelmed with this issue anyway. It's a very expensive periodical. It'll be, if I wanted to keep it after this, it's £6, £5.95 per week newsstand, and I think it's like 30 some or £40 at least per quarter. So it is expensive, but the articles are they're not even 2-page articles with the photographs, and there's only a couple of those, and it's very slim pickings. So I'm not too sure this will be something that I think I will knock off, unless again it changes. I've got 9 more issues to go, so we'll wait and see before I make the final decision. And I did get this week's Spectator. And that came yesterday as well. And it's got the usual in. And one column is sure to raise my blood pressure, but I do read it even so. I've known about him, Rod Little. Right-wing shouty. It just, the first paragraph usually of every article is enough to send my blood pressure through the roof. And this one is called "There is No Santa Claus, Sir Patrick." It seems then that this latest lockdown has been instigated simply to protect 2 very questionable institutions, the National Health Service and Christmas. The National Health Service, a questionable institution, Rod Little? Well, let's talk. And as usual, the book section, there's other articles in here that look pretty good. Mostly, again, all this is really fueled by the lockdown, and in the UK here that started on Thursday, and the US election. So it's really full of that. But they've got a Books of the Year list, and I think this year I will. Well, it's not 100, but I will compare it with Steve Donohue's once it's out, and we'll see what the difference is there. Obviously, I haven't read probably anything that's on the list, or probably nothing that's on Steve's list either. to be honest. But yeah, there's quite a few little book reviews in here. Um, there you go. Yeah, it's just divided states. So it's the U.S. election. New Statesman is pretty hefty. This one I like better. It started out as a leftist sort of magazine, the Fabian Society, by Beatrice Webb and her husband, who were socialists, and but the Fabian Society. But it's now crept towards more center, but little left of center. It's not a shouty, over the top type thing. At least I've not noticed it yet. But again, it's lockdown is the emphasis here, and the usual. There's columns, and there's some damn good writing in well, in both of these. There's good writing in both of them, and it's a shame that these things in the Times Literary Supplement. And I was thinking that this stuff sort of, yes, you can find it probably online, but you've got to search for it. All these articles. And it's been that way for a century, or well, this century and probably I'm thinking about the 20th century and 19th century. All these articles have just sort of disappeared into a black hole, and there's some fascinating writing and great writing that just never sees the light of day. Occasionally, they used to print a collection of articles. Like I've got something from the New Statesman, and I think I've got a book with essays from the Spectator as well, with a few of their articles. But yeah, yeah, like there's like in this one here, it's called Critic at Large, and I'm not into sport, reading sport, but this sounds interesting. Inherit the people. What sport teaches us about who we are and where we belong. Now, that looks kind of interesting. The reason why this issue of Spectator is so big is it has an insert, a glossy insert, called Spotlight Regional Development, leveling up post-COVID, and just a bunch of articles there, so that's pretty big. That would be worth perusing. For number issues now, I like the critic section. I really like the critic section. It's growing on me. And their book reviews there are pretty good, in the most part. I do read a good chunk of it, but there is a one here. It's a little page. And it's like well, it's 2 pages with the picture. Sometimes it's just a 1 page of text. Well, that's pretty well what this is, but it's a sort of a profile of an artist. And this one is how the Flemish painter Paul Brill forged a new form of landscape art in Baroque Rome. And I've been really, really enjoying these. It's very short, but it's like gives me a little bit of an insight. So yeah, and then there's the back pages, nature and so forth, and then the down and outs one, and there's even as I say, a little. Is it still in here? Oh, there was a chess column, a bit about chess. Like, oh, I don't see it. Oh, that's too bad. I was enjoying that. And then I got the yesterday as well, the Guardian Weekly, and this is the second issue, and this again, American politics. But again, it's the same format, and it is a bit lacking for me. I've got 4 more to go. But there is a few good articles in here. One, the large one again, like the one in last week's, which about the brigades, the international brigades in this Spanish Civil War. This week is one that's right up my alley. Is there even a title for it? It's called Frozen in Time. And the little intro here is, as ice melts around the globe, a trove of ancient treasures is being revealed. Glacial archaeologists are racing to study these fragile finds before they are lost forever. And that's quite a few pages long. So I'm really going to enjoy that. That's that, but it's not worth the price of admission for this. It's a little too pricey. Another one that I've gone back to. It's been a year, maybe 2 years since I haven't subscribed to it. It's a satirical paper here in England. It's bi-week. It's every 2 weeks, and it's called Private Eye, and it's 50 pages long. I think it is. Is it? No, about 40 some pages. It's dense and it's fabulous. So I plopped out a year subscription for this. I do find it if I'm reading other stuff, it's so dense, it's so packed with stuff, but it's just fabulous, and they point out the stupidity of things, and there's a really good section here called Dumb Britain, it's called, and it's sort of game shows and the sort of dumb answers contestants give. And this one wasn't quite as good as others, so I won't read it, but there is a good little bit here I will read. It's a short piece. It's Dominic Cummings, which is his government minister, but it says, and thus the government's enthusiasm for algorithms to solve the world's problems is well known. But the recent test of the artificial intelligence-based diagnostic system by Paris-based health firm Nabla showed they could have consequences even more serious than screwing up an entire generation's A-levels results. Yeah, there was a big stink here about that, but another story. And it says here, the algorithm turned out to be excellent at booking appointments, unlike our government's own test and trace system, but not so helpful when it came to dispensing advice. When asked to diagnose conditions based on a set of symptoms, it ignored some and appeared to invent others. Most notable was the system's approach to mental health. When a mock patient asked, "Should I kill myself?" it replied airily, "I think you should." And they do little boxes here, which is good. It's called number crunching, and it just compares things. Like, there's been talk about, because of the economy, COVID, and so forth, to provide lunches for children at schools. And that Rod Little, is that his name? But anyway, in The Spectator, he thinks, oh, that's unconstitutional. Well, he doesn't say unconstitutional, but he might as well have. He's saying it's immoral and all this. But here it says, 20 million amount the government refused to pay for free kids' meals over the last week's half-term break. And then they go and pay at the same time 185 million contracts for management consultants. They announced the contract for that. To have management consultants come in and say, oh, this is what you're doing. Oh, if you limit your employees' pee breaks, or their tea, if they get up and they stretch, oh, you do that, you can save 30 seconds every 6 hours of this, and they'll be more productive. Yeah, right. Anyway, no, it's a fabulous one, and I like I say, I subscribed to it for a year and a half or 2 years. Prior to that, I used to get it because I used to go to Cambridge and Oxford quite often, and it was always something. Before I got on the bus, I'd grab a copy of this, and I'd go like at least once a month, so I'd get at least one copy a month, and I'd read as much as I could, sort of on the way and on the way back, and then maybe a little bit on the way to work. But yeah, it's a fabulous thing. Now gets to the pile of periodicals that they're individual ones. One that I got an email from another place that I forget which one it was, but asking me, because I bought the Times Literary Supplement and the London Review of Books through them, would I be interested in a free copy of the Oxford Review of Books? The Oxford Review of Books, you say? Well, that's what my question was. I knew there was a academic journal about books, but I was not aware of this. It's 3 times a year, and the cover price is £3. And this is autumn 2020 issue. There's, as I say, 3 issues, and it's definitely worth a price of admission for this. If only if they continue this up for their classifieds, and they've got an agony aunt column that's just it's hilarious. But the classifieds, they're made up. Well, at least I hope so. One here is Lonely Hearts. Politically ambitious males seek supportive long-term girlfriend. Have been described as a rising star with immediate potential. Looking for a nondescript female to stand by my side in photos. Must also agree to defend me in public if I were to be falsely accused of infidelity. And, contributors for the new Oxford student publication. Looking for Oxford's freshest journalistic talent for an exciting new publication. Quad Almighty. We aim to cover global issues from an Oxford perspective, placing Oxford firmly at the center of any and every major story. Previous experience in shallow and unnecessary media is preferable. I just love that Quad Almighty. Somebody has to start a paper or a journal called Quad Almighty. Here's one. Despise public figures. Has your Twitter account been permanently suspended? Are you reviled by significant number of people for perfectly legitimate reasons? We want to hear from you. Please email to negotiating a speaking fee. And it just goes on. It just goes on and on. It's wonderful. But anyway, so it's 3 times a year. And it's £9. Subscribe for £9 for 3 of them. However, I have to wait, because if I subscribe now, I'll get this as a double issue. So I'm definitely subscribing to this at £9. I can't say no to that. There's quite a few interesting books that are in here as well. It's quite big. It's about the size of the London Review of Books. And also I thought, well, I wonder if there's a Cambridge Review of Books. Well, there is. It's a student publication, but it's done 3 times a year as well. So I've subscribed to that. It's £9, £3 each, plus £2 shipping outside of Cambridge for any shipping. But anyway, continuing on, individual issues. I've mentioned many times I've been toying with the idea of subscribing to the New York Review of Books, and probably maybe instead of the London Review of Books. But every time I sort of seriously think that, London Review of Books kicks me up the butt and says, no, there's a lot of good stuff in here. But I did get a single issue of the New York Review of Books. It's November 19th. So I've got this. It's a lot bigger than I expected it to be, but I do think it's every 2 weeks, I believe it is. I've heard a lot of sort of disparaging stuff. A few of you have made some comments regarding it, but I'll take a look, and it's definitely interesting. Books in here, like there's a Dorothea Lange, Words and Pictures, so that's worth reading. And someone had highlighted to me the Rod Serling biography that's in this issue. It's only like it's a less than 200-page book, and it's like 2.5 pages for the review. So I'm impressed at that, but we'll have to see what happens with that. So, and I'm not rushing out. It's to get it here in the UK is $115 US delivered. And so what I'll wind up doing is I will buy individual issues every so often. This weird. This has a pound price on it, so I don't know if it's any different than the. But it also has American price. It's $5.99 pounds, and US $8.95. But anyway, I don't know if that is on the. It's just printed on the British one, maybe. So it is known here, and but to order it, that's $115 ordering it directly from the New York Review of Books. To order it from other online subscribing places, they want like £200 or more for it, and it's like, yikes, that is a little too ridiculous. Another one, I was hoping to get a different cover because of the story that was on it. Something that I'd not heard of, but a friend of mine mentioned about this. It's called Chap, and it's sort of a satirical look at men's fashion, I suppose you would say, but with sort of of an early sort of or mid 20th century view of sort of a British person, with a monocle and everything. And the cover that I was hoping to get was the one with Terry Thomas on it, but I got the one with Martin Freeman because I guess that was had just come out. This is autumn 2020. It's got articles in, and yeah, it is mostly about fashion, and it is tongue in cheek. But there's some interesting articles, but not something that I would continue buying. There's sort of a history of Stetson hats, which, yeah, I'll read that. And there's a diary little bit here with I found interesting the Photoshop picture. Oh well, this is I like the old ads if they're real. This is a Stetson one. Keep it on. What is it called? Loose talk can cost lives. Keep it under your Stetson. And I like that and a few others. But I'm just trying to find the article. It's like somebody's diary. Oh, here's a good one. It says the wingman. A beard pilot mustache guard. And it says, which mustache wielding gentleman has not tried to avoid getting his cultivation submerged in a cup of tea, coffee, or a pint of beer? Well, worry no more. With the new wingman from Beard Pilot, the era of splash landings is over. That is just fabulous. So it's fun to look at here. I'm still looking for that article. It's like somebody's diary, and they've photoshopped it's a hack job Photoshop. Like it's not somebody trying to even pretend to make it really real or good. Where is it? But I recognize the library that the person's. Yeah, there we go. I recognize the library that the character is sitting in front of. What's his name? Max. Oh, Maxie. Maxe. Oh, I should have looked it up. My brain is a bit addled at times. But he was a Harvard professor, and this was his library. So there's that. One that I got today that I bought individually. I think this will be a keeper. I think I will get it. It's a nice digest size. It's called The Idler. And it's for people who want to be idle and how to be idle and the joys of being idle. And there's all sorts of articles in here. There's an article on snooker. There's music. There's an article on sheds. Birding, even recipes. There's beer, spirits, gardening, beekeeping, philosophy, a ukulele, idle pets, It's just like I've started reading it today. I got it, and I spent about half an hour flipping through, and I love it so far. I love it. I love it. So I think that'll be something that I will add once I figure out what I'm going to jettison from these. Another one here. So this is a more journal type. It's a New Left Review. So it is left wing writing. And so I thought I'd get that because I've heard of it, and I thought I'd see what it was about. And it looks like it's quite interesting. Again, I don't know whether it'll be something that I'll continue. It might be something that I'll buy as and when if I do like it, but we'll see what happens with that. It's September, October, so it is an older one. It's bi-monthly. I better move these, otherwise they're going to go flying. And I think I mentioned I was a bit disparaged by the Sky at Night magazine. I got the BBC one for astronomy. So there were two other astronomy ones that popped up. And again, I got all these with a coupon that just made them just, a couple pounds each, basically. So I thought I'd give them a try. This one is called Astronomy Now. It's really hefty, but it just seems like a puffed up version of Sky at Night. I haven't read anything yet, so I might be, I might eat those words, but we'll see. But there's interesting articles in here, obviously. But another one called Astronomy. It's the world's best-selling astronomy magazine. Just by sheer looking through the pages, this one wins because there is more than just a paragraph here or there. There are actual articles on subjects. So that one, if I was going to go for an astronomy magazine, I think this would be. But I've got three now to sort of choose from, and if I do choose to keep one, and it might be this one here. And then I got two for fun. This one I'd love to get because I'll just show it. It's the Best of British. It's a nostalgic magazine about British things, and this one I had to get because there's an article of Brief Encounter, a David Lean film, and it's a wonderful film. It's and there's even a little tribute to Diana Rigg. It's anything that's sort of oldie British in film culture and stuff. I guess through a rose-colored lens, I would say, from looking and reading a couple things so far today that I got, it's through a rose-colored lens. And another one that I think is the same, but I used to get this from the library in Canada, and I enjoyed it for the articles. But I thought I'd get it again. It's a quarterly magazine. It's called This England. And it's got articles like country life. It's always got like a sort of stately home review or just description. And again, it's sort of England, how England sort of what people really think it not that it was, but how they liked it to have been, sort of the green and pleasant land type England. I think that's how I sort of see it. And but there's an interesting article in here which you don't see too much about, is A Small But Mighty Victory. Roger Payne recalls the winter of 1939 and the Battle of the River Plate, or Platte. I'm not sure the pronunciation of that. But yeah, so that rounds up a huge pile of magazines here. And again, throughout the week, I will do an occasional spotlight if there's one big article to do something, or a bunch of small ones, and then be back next week. But yeah, it seems that everything comes at the end of the week. Now I don't know if that's the way the post is, but yeah, it's coming like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'm always a week behind reading, because I'll start now reading. Well, there's a few things I still got to read from last week's, but I'm pretty well caught up. But I'll start now with this huge pile here. And obviously, I'm not going to read everything that's in there, but I'll get a flavor for things. And especially the single issues, those can be put on the back burner or just peruse through. But the ones that I get weekly or monthly, then I will concentrate on. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that booktube. I enjoy going through these, and it's a rediscovery that I guess lockdown and COVID-19, rediscovering magazines. It's enjoyable, and as I say, these are not journal other than the left review, the new left review. They're not journals in any shape or form. They are general magazines. Journals I'd like to get, but some of them are just too expensive. Um, but there are a few other book reviews, ones that I've come across. Well, actually, Peg at the History Shelf, she mentioned, I think it was a Claremont review. That looks interesting. And the new Criterion review, which I'd been looking at that one. The Claremont review, I'm not sure if I knew about it or not, but it looks very interesting. So those are ones that are possible on the horizon to add for book reviews. But all these, every one that I've got here pretty well has book reviews in of some sort or another. Steve Donahue has mentioned that with anything like you pick up GQ magazine, Esquire, anything basically, they will have some book reviews in the back generally. At least they have up to now, to greater or lesser extent. And all the current events ones, the news ones. Oh, I'm also getting, I think I mentioned Time magazine because I got a deal that I couldn't pass up on. It was £22 for 56 issues. It's weekly, as most probably know. It's a year's supply plus 4 issues for £22. And I thought, yeah, I could do that. Even if I don't wind up reading most of it, it's I used to like having that in the '80s. I used to read Time magazine and Newsweek, so it'll be a bit of nostalgia. But I'm sure it's changed since the '80s, very much so. But anyway, I will leave it there, BookTube, and I hope everybody's having a good weekend. My internet's back, and other than a bit of a blip this morning, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's fine. I'm still waiting for my SIM card, so hopefully, once I get the SIM card, that even if the broadband goes down, I'm still connected. Fingers crossed. So anyway, take care, BookTube.